This is rough. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock. This is tough. This is really tough. I've been doing this for a while now, and I can tell you, out of all the videos I gotta make, this is easily the toughest video to make. Making videos about injuries is never fun. It's never entertaining. It's never a happy moment because you're talking about somebody going through a brutal injury that they have to recover from. And depending on the type of injury, it could be career altering or maybe even career ending. And in a situation like this, it feels like it might be one or could potentially turn into both. I don't know. So let's talk about it here. So I got off work and I was heading home and I ended up getting two notifications. And coincidentally, both those notifications was focused on the same injury, but with two different players. The first report I got was that Jason Tatum was officially confirmed to tear his Achilles. He tore his Achilles yesterday during game 4 of the second round between the Celtics and the Knicks. He had torn it towards the end of the game, and they confirmed that, yes, he's torn his Achilles. He just went through surgery today, and it was successful, so now he's going to begin the rehab process. So praise up to Tatum. That's a brutal injury. That's a devastating injury. For a superstar in his prime to suffer that injury right now, devastating. He's definitely out for at least the 2026 season. He'll be back around 2027. He tore his Achilles now in May in the middle of the playoffs. He's not playing all of next year. He would have to go into the following season after that. And now the Celtics, who are already suspected to make some roster changes after this season, whether they won a championship or not, now they've got to figure out what they're going to do because you're going to have a year where there's no Jason Tatum and you're going to have to retool and think about that gap year. It's about to be very difficult for the Boston Celtics in terms of figuring this out. But that main core that just won a championship, that main core is not coming back. So they've got a long journey ahead to figure that out. And Jason Tatum's got a long journey ahead of recovery. Prayers up to him, and hopefully he gets a speedy recovery because, man, that's a career-altering injury. So that was the first notification I got. The second notification I got definitely shocked me even more because the Tatum one, I was already shocked by it, but I watched it happen because I was watching game 4 yesterday. This one came out of nowhere and it really hurt. It really hurt and it shocked me, man. So, how do we say this? Ardarius Washington was the second notification I got in regards to the same injury as Jason Tatum. So, Ian Rappaport reported that Ravens safety Ardarius Washington has officially suffered a torn Achilles. He had torn his Achilles during his conditioning. I don't know exactly when. I think it may have been today or maybe yesterday. But during conditioning, he had torn his Achilles. And he's now officially out for the season. Now, again, the official report said he'd be out for most, if not all of the season. But an Achilles tear is a season-ending injury. You're done for basically the year. This is a long, tedious process. It's a very gruesome injury. It's a very brutal injury. For athletes to suffer this injury, it's brutal. It's difficult. It's a long process that takes up to a year, and it's career-altering. So, Ardarius Washington suffering this injury right now absolutely just... it takes away everything he just showcased in the 2024 season because his situation is a tough one to see. It's definitely a tough one to see. Ardarius Washington has been working so hard to prove himself and get his moment. He started the 2024 season on the bench. He was not a starter for us. He was not one of our starting safeties. That was Marcus Williams out there alongside Kyle Hamilton. So yeah, he wasn't starting. He wasn't a starter, and he had worked hard to prove himself. And when he was on the field, he was making plays, and he had proved himself to the point where he did become a starting safety right next to Kyle Hamilton when the Ravens decided they were going to move to two high safeties to try to make that adjustment for the defense, which ultimately worked out because the defense was able to turn themselves around during the second half of the season last year. And Ardarius Washington was a huge contributing factor as to why we were able to turn things around. And he made a lot of great plays, man. Two of his best plays was the hit he had on Russell Wilson that caused the fumble against the Steelers. And then the play he made on fourth down against the Texans on Christmas to stop them from scoring a touchdown. So Ardarius Washington, man, he was great. He was great last year. He was fantastic last year. We loved what he did. He was a baller. He helped save the defense last year. And he came into this season looking for a long-term contract. Obviously, the Ravens couldn't afford to pay him, so they kind of had him sign a 10-year in which he was free to go be a free agent and, ask and speak with other teams and hopefully get a deal out of that. And if he wasn't able to get a deal from that, he would ultimately return to Baltimore on a 1-year deal that was like what, 2, maybe 3 million. He went out to free agency. Nobody offered him a deal. He ended up back in Baltimore for another year. And this was supposed to be his prove-it year. Last year was on the bench. This year he was a key contributing factor that was going to be one of our main starters. So he was going to have this season to prove what he can do. This was going to be his prove-it year to maximize what he was able to do last year to a higher extent for the full season. And just when it looks like he's going to have the opportunity to do so, tragedy happens and he tears his Achilles. I'm just so heartbroken for this guy, man. It's a devastating, devastating injury, and it's devastating news to hear for a guy that worked so hard to get to this point, to showcase what he can do, to get on the field, be a starter, be an impactful player. And now he was ready to do it again, this time to prove himself so he can get a long-term contract. With an injury like this, it's career-altering. And depending on things go, it could potentially be career-ending. I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to say that's the case. I'm rooting for the guy. I'm praying that's not the case. But a guy that wasn't getting offers and had to come back to Baltimore on a prove-it year, that's difficult, man. And it's tough to think about. And it's heartbreaking to think about. And it's unfortunate that that's the reality here. Me personally, I would love if we could sign him to a deal, but we know that's not how things work. For him to suffer this type of injury in a situation where he was getting ready to prove himself, man, looking for a long-term contract and this happens, it's just devastating. It's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. All my sympathies go out to Ardarius Washington. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he'll have a successful surgery and then he'll have a successful and speedy rehab and recovery. Same for Jason Tatum too, because these are career-altering injuries, man. They change everything. They change everything. This is the worst injury for an athlete to suffer because it takes so long to come back from, and you're never really the same after you suffer it. So I don't even know what Ardarius Washington would look like a year from now. And I don't know what's going to happen to him a year from now. It's just unfortunate that this had to happen. As for the Ravens, devastating news, devastating injury. Now EDC in the front office, they've got to move quick because at the end of the day, they drafted Malachi Starks to pair next to Kyle Hamilton, but what they really wanted was to run that 3-safety look because they wanted Kyle Hamilton to go back to how he was in 2023, where he was able to roam around the defense because he had 2 trusted safeties back there, and Kyle Hamilton could do whatever he wants. If he's going to cover the flat, he'll cover the flat. If he's going to cover a tight end, he'll cover a tight end. If he's going to blitz the quarterback, he's going to blitz the quarterback. They wanted to get back to that. That's why having Ardarius Washington back here and then drafting Malachi Starks was going to make this defense look fantastic. But now you've lost a huge contributing piece, a key starter in your backfield, and now you've got to scramble. You lost him, so now you can't run that 3-safety look because they needed 3 starting caliber safeties, and now you have 2. So EDC in the front office, it's May. They've got plenty of time. Minicamp hasn't started for everybody yet. The OTAs as well haven't started for everyone yet, and we're 2 months away from training camp. You still have time. EDC in the front office, you guys still have some time. So it's up to them to go out and find a starting caliber safety. And there's guys available in free agency. They just got to go sign one. And it's going to be tough, but they got to go get a starting safety because they want to run that 3-safety look. That's why they drafted Malachi Starks, and that's why they ultimately brought back Ardarius Washington. They want that look. So you've got to go find another starting caliber safety out there. It's up to EDC and the crew to get it done, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. That's all I got for you guys. Once again, prayers up to Jason Tatum and Ardarius Washington, and we'll just see how things go. That's pretty much all I got for you guys today, man. Just a tough video to make because this is just heartbreaking news all around. But that's pretty much all I got. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. Thank you so much for the love and support, and that's all I got for you guys. Be sure to stay safe and peace out.